Hi, I'm Jenni and today I'm going to talk about the most sought after Rolex, the full steel Sky-Dweller. I'm going to explain why this watch proves that Rolex is still capable of innovation, how to even operate and read that watch, how to even get one at RRP, and why this is not only a true bargain for a Rolex, but also why this is perhaps the best Rolex out there. So let's get started. And one quick little note, our watch rolls are finally available now in our online shop. We've got many different sizes and styles and colors and leather variations, so make sure to check them out. I will put the link in the description box below. Make sure to be quick because we sold out quite quickly last time. And now let's get on with the video. When looking at the Sky-Dweller, you could definitely see the resemblance to the continuation of the first watch with a date complication that Rolex introduced in 1945, which is now better known as the Datejust today. But the Sky-Dweller is so much more than that. It's pretty much a Datejust on steroids. Currently, the biggest Datejust sits on your wrist with a diameter of 41 millimeters, but the Sky-Dweller comes with a whopping 42 millimeters that look straight up massive on your wrist. I'd say even bigger than your usual 42 millimeter models like the Speedmaster from Omega, for example. And to blame here is definitely the bulky case of the watch. Instead of the 11.8 millimeters in height we can see on a Datejust, the Sky-Dweller towers over it with 14 millimeters in height, which makes this one sit pretty high on your wrist. But also offering more than what we are used to from Rolex is also the Oyster Bracelet on this watch with its brushed outer links and the polished middle parts. It has a bigger lug width and a clasp with a 5mm easy link, which means that you can easily adjust the size of the bracelet without using any tools. I know that is all well and good, but what I haven't mentioned yet is definitely the most important part on this watch, and that is the bezel. Because strictly speaking, the full steel Sky-Dweller is a steel Rolesor Sky-Dweller. Rolesor is Rolex's special mix of stainless steel and white gold, and made from that is the bezel that sits on top of this beauty. It is personally one of my favorite bezel designs, and Rolex used this fluted bezel on the Sky-Dweller to hide its secret that proves that they are, contrary to popular belief, still very innovative, as the Sky-Dweller might be one of the biggest innovations of the past couple of years. So what's up with the bezel on this watch? To explain it, I think we should first understand what the Sky-Dweller can do in comparison to a Datejust. Because this watch is a full-on annual calendar, which means that the Sky-Dweller differentiates between months with 30 or 31 days on its own and only needs adjusting once a year on the 1st of March. I know an annual calendar isn't super unique or crazy because there are many other brands and manufacturers out there that do an annual calendar as well. But what's really special here is how Rolex has implemented the calendar, not only technically but also visually. The Calibre 9001 is based on 11 patents Rolex filed for, as they made it possible that the annual calendar complication works by only adding 4 more gear reels to their existing movement. So it's really space saving in comparison to other manufacturers. And it definitely shows when looking at the watch. So first, the date, and I think you could have guessed that, is displayed at 3 o'clock through the Cyclops lens. Very useful, but nothing new. But now when it comes to telling the month is where it gets genius. Because Rolex made use of the dial with its 12 hours, as there are as many hour markers on the dial as there are months in a year. And to not waste any space on the dial, you can tell which month it is by looking at the little display on the outside of the hour markers. So for example, when setting the time to 11:59 p.m. on June the 30th, you can see how the date display does not jump to the 31st, but to the 1st of the month at the same time as the red month display jumps from 6 to 7 o'clock to mark the first day of the 7th month of the year, which of course in this case would be July. And because there is still enough space left on the dial, Rolex decided to throw in a GMT complication so you can mark a second time zone. What I really like and absolutely appreciate here is how comparatively easy Rolex has made it to set the watch. Where other calendars can be very tricky and difficult to handle, with all these different pushes, setting the Sky-Dweller feels very intuitive because you're actually using the bezel for this one. So in combination with the crown, you can easily adjust and set everything you need. Similar to the Yachtmaster 2, you can twist the bezel into different positions. So first, you twist the bezel counterclockwise as far as possible, unscrew the crown and pull it out to the max. That way we can now adjust the 24-hour display to our reference time. So for example, my home time, which would be 8:30 p.m. Okay, and next we're going to twist the bezel clockwise, one step back so to say. And when you wind the crown now, you can only adjust the hour hand, which helps you to set the local time you are at right now. And because I'm at home, by the way, which we should all be right now if we're not essential workers, we can set it to 8 p.m. as well. Last but not least, we can set the date by twisting the bezel clockwise one step further. What I really like is that you can switch the date forwards and backwards, which is very convenient in my opinion, so you don't have to feel like you're endlessly flipping through the date display. And that is pretty much it. In case you keep wearing your watch at least every other day, you only have to set it once a year on the 1st of March because of the 72-hour power reserve on this one. But as always, there is one catch. To be able to set the watch first, you have to have the watch, of course. So how is the availability with the Sky-Dweller right now? So technically, since 2020, the Sky-Dweller costs 13,850 euros at any authorized dealer here in Germany. But it would not be Rolex if you could just waltz into any AD and pick and choose your favorite Rolex watch and just walk out with it. And the Sky-Dweller is no exception here. But that wasn't always the case, because back in the day in 2012, when Rolex introduced the Sky-Dweller, they only introduced it in precious metals, and it came with a hefty price tag of around 40,000 euros, and people were not so excited about it. And we Rolex lovers tend to be a bit dramatic, I might say, so the outcry for a full steel Sky-Dweller was big. And then so it happened that in 2017, Rolex came out with the first full steel Sky-Dweller with the reference number 326931. So far so good, but what's the problem now, you might ask? Well, stupidly, the Rolex Sky-Dweller is one of the least frequent delivered Rolex models, even less frequent than the Daytona as far as sources have told me. So that leaves you and me and everyone else with only two other ways to get our hands on a Rolex Sky-Dweller. The first way would be to already be a good customer at an AD. That's pretty much the only way you will be able to buy one at an RRP in the foreseeable future. And the second one would be to buy the watch at the current market price, which is currently at around 17,000 to 25,000 US dollars, depending on the dial color, whereas the blue one is the most popular one, which makes it the most expensive one. Well, regardless whether you are willing to pay 14,000 or 24,000 for this watch, the Sky-Dweller is, compared to other luxury watches with an annual calendar, still a bargain. And if possible, I would definitely recommend seeing this one person if you get the chance, because it looks and feels very special if you get to hold it once. And so the question remains, is the Rolex Sky-Dweller the best Rolex ever? Of course, it all comes down to personal preference, but if you ask me, I would say it definitely is. But what about you? Do you like the Sky-Dweller, or would you not go for an annual calendar from Rolex and rather look for one at a different brand? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm excited to read what you have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.